Welcome to SHOWBIZ Tell, a monthly podcast from the Georgia Entertainment Public Relations Alliance. Welcome to SHOWBIZ Tell, podcast where public relations professionals deliver a backstage pass to the entertainment industry, uncovering the secrets to success in this crazy, challenging, fun, exciting business that we are all in.
Our guests share their favorite show-stopping moments, their business acumen, and stories of their adventures from sets, stages, screens, and concert halls. And now it's time to showbiz and tell.
Yes, that's right. I'm Mitch Leff, and I'm here with my colleague Elise Riley. And with us today are two of the folks who lead Georgia Entertainment. We've got Randy Davidson and Jezlan Moyet. And I'm gonna tell a little bit about what Georgia Entertainment is in 10 seconds, and then I'm gonna make Randy give the longer version. How about that? All right, so I've worked with you guys for a long time. So I look at Georgia Entertainment as a kind of the leading source of information about the industry. And we're talking film and broadcast and music, arts, digital, fashion, esports, all of those things, game development, all of those things that are what we call the entertainment industry. So we call this podcast Showbiz and Tell for a reason. And we like to take the typical show and tell concept we all grew up with and focus the conversations about how the business works. So I'm gonna open this up to Randy a little bit. Randy, tell me a little bit about what is this thing called Georgia Entertainment? What's it all about?
Hey, Mitch, thanks for having me. Very glad to be here. You and Elise are superstars in PR and been a lot to this industry and a lot to our business since our founding. But yeah, we're media. We're the media entity covering the creative industries, as you mentioned, all of those various areas of film and music and gaming, fashion, art, all of it. And we do that through our online publication. We're pretty active there, social, outlets, and we have a printed annual publication that represents that medium to reach our readers and followers. And then we also do a lot of events inside the state of Georgia where we really, cover topics that are timely for what creatives are facing, and not just creatives, but local communities and businesses as they understand and learn more about that their citizenry, the people that live there, their residents are wanting these jobs. And so we really try to give them the support and resources and information that they want. And then finally, we have a very healthy outreach around the world where we go and we tell the world about Georgia's locations and infrastructure, culture, and backdrop for being a place that they need to bring their story, because there's no better place to tell a story than right here in Georgia.
We're airing now the first week in November here. It's getting a little cool here in Atlanta, and you guys have an event coming up in just a couple of days. I think it's on November 12th. So tell us a little about what that November 12th event is all about.
So yeah, the Entertainment Tourism Alliance Summit, which is it's a great example, Mitch. I'm glad you brought it up about really the convergence of what we're doing. The audience is going to be probably 50-50. On one side, you're going to have county commissioners, city managers, direct marketing organization executive, convention and bureau, visitor bureaus, tourism people, in one setting. And then you're going to have filmmakers, producers, and directors also in attendance. And they're coming together to talk about the economic benefits that having productions be done within communities, what that's like, not only immediately whenever the productions are being executed, but after the productions have long left. What are the tourism and benefits, and how do we add that up? So we're very excited about that event. It's really important for numerous reasons, and not the least of which is making sure our politicians understand that this is not some good, by the way, industry that we have in Georgia. It's essential and it's critical to economic development, growth in the
GeorgiaEntertainment.com
state is the URL, and that's the main spot that most of our readers and followers get the information. And their favorite places there are just our news page, which flows down everything, and then the events page, because that houses all of our events in order. You can RSVP there, and it also has a lot of other industry events. We have an industry events calendar, so both of those spots are great resources for people to access.
All right, and if you're watching on YouTube here, you can see that URL floating across the bottom of Randy's head there at the bottom. If you're listening on audio, then just look in the show notes for this podcast, and you'll see that URL link right there. All right, so Jezlan, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'm going to I want you to do the show part of this. So is there something kind of fun that you've got that you want to show that kind of represents something kind of cool and momentous or meaningful in your career?
This right here, sums it up. Hopefully it is in focus. This is the most recent issue.
It is.
Yes.
Entertainment Creative Economy Journal. For those of you who are watching online, you can access that digitally through that homepage, GeorgiaEntertainment.com. Click the journal tab and you can see all of the issues that are in digital format. But this is why I love this, Mitch, because this is our passion, our mission, our vision for what we do to rally locally and recruit globally in print. Right? And this matters so much for so many reasons.
Hold that up higher. There we go. All right, now we can see. Yeah, okay. A little bit closer to the cameras because get me to play. There you go. Okay. Oh, that's cool. All right, now too close.
That was a very moment here.
That's good. That's great.
Zoom blur, but I'm so passionate about that. You know, it was one of the big initiatives when I joined the team with Randy at Georgia Entertainment, was really to expand, you know, our reach, our audience. And what better way to do that than in a traditional format where this lasts? It sits on coffee tables, it sits on desks under the gold dome, right? It comes with us to Cannes and Sundance. People are taking pictures with it on the red carpet. That is the story of Georgia Entertainment, not who we are as a company, but who we are as a collective in the state of Georgia that support, work, thrive in the creative industries.
Jezlan, personally, how did that moment that you just shared impact your career journey? And also, what does that item signify for you?
Okay, Elise, you wanted tears? Is that what we're going for? Because honestly, this to me was, I think, my most proud of the journals. This is my co-publisher letter. It's the future of the workforce. You know, it was significant in my career journey. One, because I was incredibly proud of the collaboration that we established with SCAD Pro. This was us really putting our money where our mouth is, so to speak, investing in the future of the creative workforce and watching it really come to life and bring our vision to life in a way that I couldn't even think or imagine, like they did with the cover. You know, I think this is one of the, you know, pinnacles of my career, and so many of them have happened with Georgia Entertainment, right? Whether that was standing on a red carpet at Cannes or, you know, at Assembly Studios right here in Doraville, Georgia, handing out the first issues literally hot off the press last year, our Georgia Entertainment Signature 100. I'm just so incredibly proud of, you know, not only the editorial effort that went into it, right? Because it's an immense amount of work to put together a magazine. And I know you were integral in editing and making sure this all was, you know, the best foot forward, right? But the work we've done as an industry in the state of Georgia, I mean, this is really a reflection of that. And not just locations or communities, but infrastructure and people you might not think really have a direct hand in film or music, but we're talking accounting, you know, lawyers, other service providers, publicists whose work, because of the entertainment industry here in the state, has really thrived.
And Randy, this question is for you. What's your secret sauce, and how is the business model for Georgia Entertainment unique? And why do you think that model has helped you be successful in this industry?
Whoa. Can't tell you that. That's the NDA.
Oh, yes, that's right.
No.
Can't share that.
You know, it's a much longer conversation and probably a different podcast, but the evolution working and waking up daily to something that you believed in is only happened to me with this business. And I've had a lot of businesses over the years, for many, many years. And something happened several years ago, 5, 6 years ago, that just changed me, and I finally was able to do something that really a lot of people should be very blessed and fortunate to do, is love what they are doing.
Yeah.
And in all of my other businesses that I had been doing, I cared, but it was really opportunistic. It was like, let me see what I can get out of this. And this one here, as Jezlan will tell you, we just stick our heads in the sand. Like the journal she just showed you, we just stick our head in the sand and say, well, we have no idea how much money we're going to lose on this thing or make or whatever, but it's the right thing to do, dang it, and we go and do it. And the same thing with Sundance and other things. And so that really makes the difference for me. And the secret sauce is really just being passionate, I feel like, and loving what you do, because everybody can see it. You can't fake, passion.
Yeah.
And I think that's why folks really love us.
Brady, I need to reframe that a little bit, just if I may, Elise. He says stick his hand in the sand, but I really think that's part of what he even put in this journal about being pot committed is really truly investing what we believe in and waiting for the universe to deliver. That's what we're doing as an industry right now. We're revamping, we're revising, we're setting a new scene because we believe in it wholeheartedly. So sure, you might close your eyes and stick your head in the sand and hope for the best. But I'm really saying we are all in on this Georgia entertainment.
Yeah, you guys definitely put the right ingredients in for sure, because you're very successful in what you do. So thank you for an industry professional, I think.
So, Randy, you might have alluded to this a little bit, but was there a moment or a hurdle in your career that you had to get through and that really pushed you to where you are? Was there something that happened or a moment? And it doesn't have to be, if you were alluding to something different, that's earlier, that's fine. But was there a hurdle? Was there a boom, a wall or something?
Well, there's probably three different things that I'll just mention real fast. One, I got really lucky because when Al Gore invented the internet, or whoever invented it back in 1999, I threw up a website for another industry, and it's still around today. 25 years later, it's the number one source for that industry to this day. And I just threw up a website that, so I had this, I was there at the beginning of online publishing and understanding readers and B2B and what they're doing and how that transition. I've seen a lot. The other thing was, a business that I had, a B2B publication that, many of us know about, Georgia CEO, was going, probably 5 years after it started in 2010, and Craig Miller, who just passed away, called me to his office, and I met him for the first time. And he's a legend in film and entertainment, and as many know, he and I've shared many times, even prior to his passing, he said nobody was covering this industry and that I should start something because I had no one was really dedicated, and it needed its own dedicated outlet. And again, that was opportunistic at that time. And since it's caught up to my heart. And then that's the third thing, is really the change personally for me, was another wall that I sort of got lucky and blasted through. I was very blessed to have some choices, and for my daughters to be creative, and one going to SCAD right now, another one being super creative, and they're the apple of my eye. And to be able to feel like I was working towards something that would be meaningful to them and many other young people, for as far as the eye can see.
That's great.
Jezlan, do you have a similar kind of moment or hurdle that you overcame?
I'd be remiss if I didn't say the past few years in the entertainment industry has been a hurdle into itself. And that's just not for me, but that's for an industry as a whole, right? There's been a mass restructuring of the studio system, of the distribution system, the financing system. And so we're all experiencing different hurdles in our lives, whether that's the way we have to rework our business models at Georgia Entertainment, or our partnerships, or, businesses as a whole, service providers, or in the merges, So I don't think it's just one hurdle, and I don't think it's just us right now. But Mitch, like I said, I'm so pot committed to this. I am so all in. I truly believe what we're doing and trust the universe is going to deliver.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. And Jezlan, all the hosts of this podcast are public relations professionals. So naturally, we are curious to ask you about this area. Can you discuss the role of public relations or marketing in your business strategy and how it has affected your success?
One word: vital. Public relation professionals in the media industry are a vital lifeline to projects, business, opportunity. That relationship, my relationship with you, with Mitch, and other PR agents that I've worked with throughout my career are some of the closest relationships I keep to me, not only personally, but professionally, because it's a way for us to all support what we're actually actively advocating for, not just clients, right, that we take on, because many PR agents aren't just taking a client for the paycheck, right? It's because they believe in a project or the product, and they want to actively advocate for that through media, right? And that's where we get to help utilize our platform to make a real difference. So, I mean, they are so hand in glove. They are the vital lifeline of what we do in the media industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
I will say, one of the things that I feel like sometimes I say this in every podcast, but maybe it's worth repeating, is that, when you're doing a production, for example, you put in a line item for your talent, you put in a line item for food, you put in a line item for lumber and electric and locations and all those things. But too many times we hear filmmakers who say, I don't have a line item for marketing. I don't have a line item for public relations. I've got a line item for everything else, but not that. So you gotta think about that. You gotta think about that ahead of time.
Let me.
Honestly, oh, sorry, Randy, go ahead.
No, I know we're both chomping at the bit to comment on that, but just this morning, yet another great story, great filmmaker, great, initiative, wants us to help them, promote their thing, do this, do that, and get people to a screening and create this energy and this buzz. And we love that. I mean, I would love to have so much resources and things like that to help them. And it's so hard to help them understand that, for us to do that, we're exerting our product.
Yeah.
Our product is access. It's people. So for us to give our currency to that, we have to figure out, and we are being, and maybe Jezlan can share some of the ways that we're being innovative in that area to help them. But it's really a core challenge that I think filmmakers and creatives have in general, that I don't know, I would love to get rid of this scratching and clawing to get to the top, like this mentality. Everybody seems to be okay with it, and it's not okay. It's like it needs to be at the front end of your storytelling, that how you can get out there and make sure that you are funded to where you can tell your story so other people can do it, not where the base audience is a bunch of people that are scrappy with you. And I know there's going to be both, but I hope that makes sense. And we're working on some initiatives that will help, and that we can provide support. But I think the problem is even beyond that, and the challenge is beyond that.
Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons why we created this podcast, is to emphasize that filmmaking, yes, it's a creative industry, but it's also there's a marketing and sales effort that has to go into it. And the people who are the creative people are not always the salespeople. That's why you put the team together, right? All right. So I'm gonna ask one of you to answer this, not necessarily both of you, but if there's someone who's looking to break into the industry, especially now when it's a little bit challenging, but people still want to get into it, what advice would you give them? And maybe each of you can give me one or two things and say they should do this.
I would say, in typical fashion, one of the things that this industry is great about is that if you've got the social skills to be mentored, and you've got the humility to be mentored by others that are successful, I find that creatives are very open to, successful ones are very open to putting folks that are committed under their wing, and they should definitely take advantage of that. that. Anybody that thinks, the other key, I think, once you do make that step and you do get started, is to recognize your weaknesses, and most creatives, what their some of their main weaknesses is that they don't understand accounting, they don't understand law, they don't understand things. And so just go ahead and saddle up, with others that are in those sectors to be on your team and start creating this team. And that's what all the most successful have done. And I just see a lot of paralyzation of creatives that don't do that, that don't go and find that mentor, and that they go and try to understand the accounting process, or they ignore it to their detriment. So that would be my primary suggestions.
That's a great segue into my next question, Randy. In your opinion, what innovative technologies are shaping the future of entertainment, and how might those be influencing the entertainment community right now?
I think, the obvious answer, is AI, but, I'm going to skip that for now and just say that the main thing that's really changing is consumption habits. So content, I tell our team all the time, and we look at these things and we know content consumption is not declining, it's going up. So when it starts going down, then I'll start looking for other things more seriously. But consumption is going up. But the way the things that are being consumed aren't the traditional feature film, $200 million budget things. There's all sorts of micro dramas, shorter format films. There's social platforms that are easier to monetize and things like that. I think that's really that's really key to understanding that those areas are changing, and your content, your idea, that's the unique thing. It needs to be ready to roll up into whatever monetization lane that is presented to them. It might not be a feature film, it might be a book, it might be a game, it might be a game then a book, or a book and then a movie, or whatever. But the idea needs to be flexible and adaptable to all of what is presented in front of them in terms of how it's going to be consumed.
Yeah, and Jezlan, did you want to answer that too as well? Do you have any other additional ideas?
Just to piggyback off what Randy said, I think it's really important to note that human creativity is vital. And while AI can certainly be a great tool to help us expedite some processes or think about things from a different lens, give you a different perspective, really, truly, you are the creative, and we need more of that and more of that expression. There are some great tools online right now that can help you protect that creative IP. Look into some of those, learn what your resources are, whether that's community, like Randy said, whether, a great attorney, an accountant, like-minded creators and collaborators through groups like the Atlanta Film Society or Trilith Institute or the Georgia Film Academy. There are so many resources readily available at the state or even our industry events calendar. There's so many opportunities to just come connect and to continue to learn. And while you're doing that, be sure you're protecting your ideas as much as you're sharing them.
Great. Good advice. Thank you.
I do get calls from young people on occasion, but how do I break into this industry? Where do I start? Honestly, I usually say, go to georgianentertainment.com and you will see a list of everything that's happening, all the events, networking opportunities, all the news, and go from there. Because they usually, I just graduated, I have no idea where to go first. Okay, this next section is kind of the lightning round, where we ask about kind of the fun things about folks, things you might not know about, things that might surprise folks, things that are kind of cool and fun. It could be a hobby, it could be something kind of fun and unique you do, whatever. So I'm going to ask Jezlan first, kind of what is something fun and unique about you that people might not know?
Oh, people would be surprised to know that I collect perfume bottles. Because, and I'll tell you why, the gospel according to Coco Chanel said a woman in life will go nowhere without perfume. And from a very young age, I wanted to have proof that I lived a very good life and I told a really good story. And according to Chanel, that was through scent. So I've gone around the world and all the places that I've traveled and found cool, old, antique perfume bottles so I could help capture that story and that essence of the life I lived.
That's
That's
great.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. How
Love
many bottles of perfume do you have?
Mitch, I don't know. I don't even have count anymore.
So, Randy, what is your favorite movie or TV show?
So my favorite TV show of all time is Seinfeld. Um, and my favorite movie is um Glenn Ross,
Ah,
which is, was just playing on Broadway there. But the movie adaptation was the one that I watched that got me going. I just loved um the
that's a great choice. I
Yeah.
just went favorite music venue.
Favorite
my
music video?
Favorite either I'm going to let Jezlan answer, and Randy, you can answer too. What's your favorite music venue? Somewhere to go with great music.
Oh, venue. Okay, sorry. I thought you said video. Rest in peace, MTV, right?
I know. So sad. Crazy.
Yeah, no, I've got to say that there are some great amphitheaters in Georgia, but my heart will always be at the Hollywood Bowl. I've seen some incredible performances there, and that venue is truly magical.
Randy, how about your favorite music venue, Randy?
mine's, I'm not a big concert goer, but I've enjoyed the couple of shows that I've seen at Mad Life in Canton, which they have a really great venue there, very intimate, and I would encourage anybody to see an act there.
Okay. Now, Jezlan, since you brought it up, what is your favorite music video from your MTV memories?
Okay, well, that's a tough one, Mitch. I don't know if I have a favorite music video. Come back to me on that.
Okay, Randy, what you got?
No, for me, it would be Guns N' Roses' Paradise City, just because I just remember it so vividly. The the rebel nature of, if you remember him on the stage singing, the thousands of fans and everything. It was definitely a time that I related to in my strict upbringing life. I was going to be able to do that one day.
All right, Jezlan,
Okay, so I'm just gonna go a little offsides here and just say TRL. Okay, I know it wasn't a music video, but that's part of the reason why I ended up doing what I do and going down this career path. That show was such a cultural icon and just a moment of my youth. I loved music and story and performance because of that, and I miss it. There were some epic episodes on MTV at like 4 o'clock every day.
Yeah, I miss MTV. All right, so last question. Randy, I'm going to start with you, and Jez, we'll let you answer this too. What's your favorite thing about Atlanta, or what makes Atlanta so special? Randy, you first.
Yeah. Atlanta, it's kind of like there's different countries within a city. And so, like, I like going to different areas. And Jezla and I carpool a lot. She lives in Alpharetta. I live up a bit up in Forsyth County. But we'll get to these areas, and it's kind of like it's got its own vibe, its own unique character, its own unique look, and it's like you can almost go from one side of the city to the other and be in really. There's really no country to compare it to, but you just see this uniqueness and this style that Atlanta has. I maybe there's other cities that are kind of like that, but I've been all over New York City, and I've been in other big cities, but Atlanta, for some reason, has this unique character and unique spots all over.
The Southern hospitality is very real. The food is world class, and the industry here has a heart to it that I always longed for in other markets like New York and LA. I've found my home in Georgia.
That's all the showbiz intel we have for you today. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast at gepra.net/podcast and follow us on social media. Special thanks to our wonderful guests, Randy Davidson and Jezlan Moyet with Georgia Entertainment. Thank you for sharing with us today, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. We hope you have been entertained and inspired just as much as we have. Thank you so much.
This has been SHOWBIZ Tell. This is a podcast presented by the Georgia Entertainment Public Relations Alliance, and I'm Mitch Leff.
And I'm Elise Riley.
We'll see y'all next month. Thanks very much.
Thank you.